According to some religions, such as Christianity, Satan is humanity's main enemy and God's opponent. In this sense, Satan has always been associated with the most destructive evil. According to the book of Luke, which belongs to the Christian Bible, the incarnation and death of Jesus broke Satan's power over the cosmos. But when we look more precisely at our current society, where crisis, social differences, and the lack of values are protagonists of everyday life, it seems that the presence of evil is more alive than ever. Could it be that God, being eternal and with infinite wisdom itself, was mistaken and did not imagine that his creation would go wrong? Or was evil created on purpose to fulfill a function? Therefore, why does evil exist, and why did God create human beings? What is the meaning of life? The first problem we have when analyzing what happened before the formation of the universe is that everything we can use to describe what was before the universe from our language is within the space-time dimension, which is a language successive, which arises from the moment that existence and its laws appear. And to describe the before time, we would need a practically simultaneous language. In other words, to try to explain what it was like before the universe existed, everything we explain will be exactly at the same moment we began and ended. It turns out that our mind is not used to a type of thought that is simultaneous to eternity, because it follows a logical sequence, and in this logical sequence, what exists are cause and consequence. But I don't have a way to explain everything simultaneously. I would need several mouths to simultaneously describe this reality. Therefore, it is practically impossible to think in terms of language within eternity. So I'm trying to warn everyone who is watching that in order to explain what it was like before the formation of the universe, everything that will be reported here will be through what we know inside of Judaism and Kabbalah as the language of the branches, a language that borrows words from our world to address realities beyond what we know, and which therefore cannot be conceptualized. According to Kabbalah, the Creator is the root that maintains all creation, and just as the root of a tree is hidden, and we only see the fruits, it is with the eternal that it is hidden so that the universe can exist. The main difference with this language is that it takes us to another level, while all other languages remain on the same level and do not provoke an ascent to the next level. The language of the branches is called that because it elevates us from the branches to the root. Creation begins in Ein Sof. Ein Sof is not a name. It is a concept used to try to define what is impossible to define. That's why it's called Ein Sof, which means endless, because we can't say what it is, only what it isn't. There is no mental way to describe from a human point of view what Ein Sof is. It has no image, form, time, and cannot be seen, as there is no containment receiver that can contain Ein Sof in the field of finitude. Therefore, Ein Sof can be considered non-existent or total darkness for our perception. Due to its infinity, there is no one who can contain something unlimited in the field of matter. It would disintegrate any possibility of anyone seeing him. Kabbalists refer to Ein Sof as the infinite, or a light that fills everything, therefore indivisible, unique, and without limits. Its essence, conceptually called Atzmut, is unknown to us because it is not part of any reality. All concepts could only exist from creation, something that is above existence and non-existence cannot be described. Therefore, what we call God is not physical, metaphysical, or pataphysical. It is beyond human understanding. Within the Hebrew alphabet, each energy has a representation in the physical world, and this representation takes place through Hebrew letters, more or less like the periodic table. In the physical world, we can get a sense of something by measuring or weighing it. But how do we weigh or measure energy? How do we measure the level of consciousness of something? The method that works with this is called gematria, where through the sum of Hebrew letters, one can find the secret behind some coded text, that is, discover the said in the unsaid, a formula that transmits energy. For example, the sum of the letters in the word herion, pregnancy, has the value of 271, exactly the days contained in 9 months. Another examples. Adam Olam, in English, master of the universe. Ein Sof, endless, and the word or, light, they all have a value of 207. In a deeper analysis, Ein Sof, above time, space, formless and infinite, is the only one that actually exists. Complete in himself and without any limits, he could do everything, except two things until then. First, have someone who could be filled by your light. That is, have someone to share it with. Second, living in a finite reality and paradoxically being subject to and at the same time above its own laws. But with whom could the unlimited donate if he already fulfilled everything? Then, Ein Sof emptied himself into a point within himself in order to create an empty space where his creation could exist. In Ein Sof, there is the infinite power to create infinite universes within oneself. We know the one we live in, but surely Ein Sof can create infinite finite universes. Therefore, we could say that infinity is equal to infinity plus 0 to infinity. This process of withdrawing into a point within oneself is called tzimtzum, or self-contraction. It will not be possible to go into details of the first self-contraction, called tzimtzum aleph, because it would take me hours to explain. Therefore, the infinite could withdraw to a point, because it has this infinite power to become finite. In a more technical language, it would be gevurah de Ein Sof, which means that the Ein Sof has the capacity for self-restriction. And the name of this power to become finite is called dark lamp. Dark lamp, because the Ein Sof is metaphorically pure light, and the only way to illuminate in pure light is with a dark lamp. And within the void, two complementary forces appeared: the desire to give and the desire to receive. The desire to bestow is called masculine potency, and the desire to receive feminine potency. The feminine power has the power of restriction, and the masculine power of expansion. As you can see, it's not about gender. When we talk about something that receives in the feminine position, we are talking about a klai, a receiver that receives from infinity. This means that the first receiver is the universe, because it was the first to receive the light from infinity. Within the first self-contraction, there was a clash of these two powers, and the first clash is absolutely feminine over the masculine. And the absolute masculine is called Adam Kadmon, the primordial man, and the restriction called the universe of Bria, universe of creation. This shock was the first self-contraction, the Tzimtzum Aleph. In the second self-contraction, Bria's universe goes backwards, and Adam Kadmon will slow down when entering female potency. About 5 million to 1 million kilometers per second. It is still impossible to see, because we can only see light up to 300,000 kilometers per second, so it is a speed faster than light, and therefore in Ein Sof there are energies in which light cannot be seen. Where there is the entry of energy in a slower form from Adam Kadmon, it is called Atzilut, the emanation. Adam Kadmon is the matrix of all the information that will exist in our universe. This means that the future can be seen in Adam Kadmon. In Atzilut, the energy of Adam Kadmon begins to enter in a space-time sequence within the universe of Bria, creation. Atzilut is written with the letter Aleph and Bria with the letter Bet. Bet is the first letter of Bereshit. Therefore, Bereshit begins from Bria or creation. When we study about Atzilut, we are studying what existed before the biblical text. In Adam Kadmon is the information of the past, present, and future, and there is no time. In Atzilut is the information that is in the process of revelation, from the infinite to the finite. And when the finiteness of Bria arrives, creation appears, and you can see why it goes below the speed of light. After the Tzimtzum Aleph and Bet and the empty space already created, it is worth highlighting that it was not totally empty. Inside the vacuum, it contained the residual energy of the Ein Sof that we call Reshimo. Reshimo is a lower category energy, necessary to sustain the expansion that the void carries out. Within this void called Halal Panui, the light of infinity re-entered, but this time limiting its power. Conceptually represented by a line of light called Kav. Within this void was created the only creation, in fact, the creation of something out of nothing, Yeshmi Ayin, the creation of the receiver who can receive the light of the Ein Sof, the Klai, or the human soul that until then was a single soul, the universal soul called Adam. The entire universe that we know, including all matter, came from this unique soul that is the manifestation of the pure desire to receive, Ratzon Lekabel, The entire universe needs to receive from something in order to exist, and the desire to receive is already something intrinsic to creation because it was initially created for this purpose. Contrary to what many think, Adam is not the name of a man. Adam is written with the letters Aleph, Dalet, and Mem. Aleph is worth one and represents the uniqueness of the Creator. And the human being, upon receiving the breath of life, receives a spark from infinity itself. And the letters Dalet and Mem form the word blood. Therefore, Adam is the junction of a spark from infinity and physical matter. It is worth remembering that the Bereshit text cannot be read literally, because the literal text is not exactly a historical report, it is codes disguised as cosmogony. If it were written that God created a man and a woman, it would say that he created Ish and Aisha, but it actually says that he created Adam. Adam also comes from Adamah, which means earth, so Adam is the earthly one. He is explicitly saying that he created the earthly, that is, humanity. According to the Torah, the universe was created in 10 stages, symbolically represented by 10 sayings. These 10 stages, or 10 dimensions, that range from infinity to the densest matter, shape our entire reality. And in Hebrew, these 10 stages are called sephirot. As already explained, first there is infinity, then there is the first contraction of infinity, Tzimtzum Aleph. After the first contraction, the light of infinity enters the vacuum, and as the light was still very powerful, there was a clash of feminine energies and positive so that the light could limit its power. Then comes the Tzimtzum Beth. This first path of light after the Tzimtzum Bet is called Keter, the crown. Then the light contracts once again, forming a second dimension, now called Rochma, wisdom. Then the light contracts for the third time. In this third path, the dimension of Bina, understanding, is created, and the receiver, the universal soul called Adam, is born there. And these first three dimensions, Keter, Rochma, and Bina, belong to what we call the basic subtle information of universal creation, and they are in the universe of Atzilut. And after Adam discovered Dat, which is the tree of knowledge, this knowledge is experienced in 7 lower dimensions, or the 7 days of the week symbolically reported in the book of Genesis, and then we enter our reality. The 7th day is the matter. After the creation of the receiver, Adam, in the universe of Atzilut, the receiver who was created only to receive from the light, received infinitely, and was satisfied without having to do anything to achieve this satisfaction. Everything fulfilled its function. The infinite donated, and the receiver was filled by constantly receiving and never feeling empty. As said, all the receiver had to do was receive the light of the infinite, and the main quality of the infinite was its desire to bestow. And from receiving so much, the receiver acquired from his creator this quality of wanting to share. So the recipient wanted to start donating too. But who could share it with if the creator was already full? Then the receiver rejected the light, and the infinite understood the receiver's need and gave space for the receiver to learn about sharing and the opportunity to become like the creator. People commonly say that Adam lived in paradise, but in reality, Gan Eden was a total limbo. There was no choice, and because he did not know evil until then, Adam did not have a total notion of the plenitude that came from the light. How the infinite understood the receiver's need to learn to give and not just receive without doing anything. The light of infinite light entered the vacuum of great receptive energy, that is, feminine, where the receiver was, as if it were a large uterus. And then the receiver, in a process of total restriction, upon receiving the light, broke into zillions of fragments that make up all souls and the physical universe. In other words, the universe is the result of the copulation of the masculine and the feminine in macrocosmic terms. This breaking of the receiver is called Shevirat Hakalim, the breaking of the receptacles. After the receiver broke, the universe was in chaos, tohu and vohu. All the power of the creation of the universe was still disorganized and contained in one point, and the receptor fragments went through phases of evolution that took billions of years. The text of the Torah begins by addressing the emergence of the first civilization we know, but says the Midrash Rabbah, other Jewish books of investigation, that before the first civilization emerged in Mesopotamia, the fragments of the receiver needed to go through stages of evolution that generated 6 major mass extinctions. As ours is the 7th, and we have already managed to evolve a little, To the point of understanding these more complex secrets and consequently understanding our purpose within the cosmos, it is promised that this world will no longer be destroyed, but totally transformed after humanity reaches the purpose of its creation. When we begin reading the Torah texts in their original Hebrew language, we discover a series of sacred names, which unfortunately are translated as proper names or as God Himself. And as already explained, God does not have a name. There is no way to conceptualize Him. Each of the names found in the Torah carries an energy, a purpose, and a different purpose. Each of these names are combinations of energies created by the infinite so that it can interact in our world. It says this in Midrash Shemot Rabbah 3:6. Do you want to know my name? I am called according to my actions. Sometimes my name is El Shaddai, sometimes Tsevaot, sometimes Elohim, sometimes Yud He Vav He. Thus, the first sentence of Bereshit says, in one of the principles, He created Elohim, the heavens and the earth. Elohim is a name of restriction and strength. The value of this name is 86, the same value as the word Tiva, nature. When Adam Harishon, humanity, was being created, the Torah says, let us make Adam in our image. Elohim is how the Creator acts in the world in a natural way. The Eternal then said, nature, let us make Adam. I will give consciousness, you will give him matter. And at a given moment, after the creation of Adam, the Eternal said, it is not good that Adam should be alone. I will make an helper who will stand before him. What does this mean? As the receiver rejected the light to be the cause and not the effect, Adam needed to know the emotions, the ego. Man needed to be able to decide between good and evil. If he remained 100% connected with the infinite light without knowing evil and continued being pure altruism as he was when he acquired the qualities of light, then there would be no way to conquer the light on his own merit, as he himself decided when he rejected the light. So the breeder decides to create Hava. And from then on, Adam is no longer the pure will to donate. Adam knows the emotions, the ego, the ambition. All of this is Hava. Two parts within the human being. So, the Creator says that if Adam ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, he would be expelled from Gan Eden. In other words, Adam was fully aware of what God was, because his consciousness was at the level of Atzilut. But from the moment he knew evil, his consciousness would no longer be the same. It would fall from Atzilut to matter, where good and evil are mixed together in what Kabbalah calls Irbuvia. Adam, who had just received Hava, or the emotions, ego, and ambitions, was still pure altruism because he had not discovered the evil that would awaken Hava's desire. And being pure kindness and altruism, he would not be able to fulfill what he asked for when he rejected the light to conquer it on his own merit. The Creator then placed Nahash, the serpent or Samael, and its function was to awaken Adam's emotions. And the serpent convinces Hava to eat the fruit, and consequently, emotions convince Adam to eat it too, because what he wanted most was to be like his Creator. After all, that was why he chose to reject the light. The Creator asks why Adam ate the fruit, and Adam, the altruistic part, responds as if he had no fault, because his essence, altruistic, was part of the Creator himself, and Hava was to blame, as if the emotions and ambitions that the Creator placed inside him had convinced him to eat. Then, Adam's consciousness, which was at the closest level to infinite light, falls from Atzilut to the densest level of creation, matter, and from then on, man, Adam, his emotions and ego, Hava, and his opponent, the situations in life that convince him to act in a destructive way, the serpent, will live together in matter. And now the goal of human beings is to return to their origins. Aleph must dominate Dam. Consciousness must dominate matter. On the tree of life, Adam and Hava are the archetypes of the Rachma and Bina dimensions when they are balanced. Bina is on the left side of the tree, responsible for restriction and is understanding. Rachma is on the right side and is responsible for expansion. Rachma is the intuitive side, and Bina the rational intelligence. In anthropomorphic forms, left and right side of the brain. When a person is too rationalistic, to the point of wanting to find all the answers in the material field, that person passes to the unbalanced side of Hava, and the dark side of Hava is Lilith. Lilith is Hava in incorrect position. According to Jewish tradition, Lilith wanted to surpass Adam, which implies that Lilith wanted rationalism to be above intuition. And when intuition wants to be superior to rationalism, Samael, the serpent, appears, and the serpent attacks Hava. Samael is the dark side of Adam, the imbalance in Rachma. The dimensions of Rachma and Bina must work together, because Rachma receives the formless light of Keter, and Bina is responsible for the organization of ideas. When the two dimensions work together, then Dat, knowledge, is born. Therefore, Rachma working alone causes religious fanaticism and baseless faith, and Bina working alone generates a very materialistic rationalism. The word Dat is written with the letters Dalet, Ayin, and Tf, and the word religion with the letters Dalet and Tf, but without the letter Ayin. Therefore, the religious person does not have Ayin, which is the source. Therefore, the religious person believes, but does not know. And in Dat, we do not believe, we know. Each soul, each human being that exists, is a piece of Adam, is a piece of the universal soul that broke when rejecting the light because it wanted to descend to be a donor and the cause of happiness in the lives of others. When we convert the selfish desire to receive into the desire to share, without expecting anything in return, we realize that no one owes us anything. And we achieve true peace, because by donating, we receive the light of the infinite, but this time, through our own merit. Thus, according to Torah and Kabbalah, the universe as we know it is literally broken, because until the fragments of the receiver discover their function and are not repaired, the main objective of creation does not happen. And from the moment a person corrects himself, through his actions, helps repair the universe because his part is being repaired, returning it to the form originally desired by God. And in this way, he participates in divine creation. Tikkun Olam is what Kabbalists describe as the rectified world, when each person will have corrected themselves and creation will have finally achieved its initial purpose. God revealed in this world through us, and matter sanctified to the point of being able to receive a limitless revelation of light. In this era, the evil that currently exists to fulfill a function will lose its purpose, and everyone will choose only between the good and the best.